So, a very common question, especially with access to the internet at a younger age, is things that you just wish you knew when you were younger. Either you're a teenager now looking to get some proactive advice in hindsight, or you're looking in the eyes of somebody in the mid 20s, late 20s, perhaps even 30s, and they're looking back and thinking, I stressed so much when I was a teenager, or I invested so much time in something that actually doesn't really matter, or just that I thought this was important. I thought this was going to be my whole life, and either there was a lot of issues or a storm in my life, or the fact that everything was so ambiguous, I had no idea what was going on. And things fell into place for you over time, as they always will. So, this is a very frequently asked video. If you follow me on Instagram, with about 100,000 followers now, we've hit, it's a very common question for people to ask on very general advice. And I'm not talking about um, knowing or wishing you knew things from the past, such as knowing about Bitcoin in 2009, or that you wish you invested in Amazon on day one and you would have made tens of hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars. But no, I think this video is going to be a lot more important. It's a lot more special to watch. So, for the first one, it's important to understand that your problems probably won't matter in 12 months. In a lot of cases, perhaps even within a few days. So, this one took me a long time to internalize, but once it did, it changed my outlook of life and every new day going forward. So, be it getting messed around, wasting your time with different friend circles, losing money, missing out on opportunities, or thinking your life was ruined, these are experiences that I've had, but I'm pretty sure everyone my age, or pretty much everyone in life, has had as well. So you're not alone there. And what's really important is that every time I thought so, I would think, I'm done. This has ruined everything. And then that scenario would replay in my head over and over and over again until finally spiraling and trying to prepare for the worst that may just one day, someday, eventually might just happen, which it doesn't. Point is, the worst case scenario never once actually happened, and for all the times I stressed myself like crazy, not once has the imaginary scenario in my head actually come to fruition. A lot of the time, nothing has actually even mattered after a couple of days. So, this is the truth for almost everything in life. Whatever is bothering you, you will eventually forget about it, or later realize it wasn't that deep anyway, and you move on. Hey, that was all for nothing, and everything is actually okay. Point two, knowing when to ask for help. So, this was me and practically everyone that I knew back when I was a teen. So, I then assume there are going to be you guys out there who probably think the same thing. No joke. So, when I was younger, I was too embarrassed to ask for help. If there was something I didn't know, I would waste hours of my time trying to figure it out, rather doing that than asking somebody, speaking up, and trying to find out something in the matter of seconds and get it over with. In all honesty, I think most people are actually happy to help if you ask. I get it, you might think you're bothering them or you feel like it's a silly question and you don't want to feel stupid, but as soon as I gave up and asked someone who could then answer the question within a few seconds, I learned that actually it's okay to ask, and people are actually quite receptive. Of course, it depends on who you're asking, but it's important to be able to ask from someone who knows, because that too is a step to learning. Point three, pick your battles. And trust me when I say this, not everything is worth fighting for. To be completely fair, most things are actually worth nothing and they're pointless. It's pointless fighting for them, and it's important to really pick where you invest your time and where you fight. For example, if something happens by mistake and they're apologetic about it, just forgive them and forget about it. It's not worth any more time. It's normal. Mistakes happen and we're all human. We screw up even with the best of intentions. And for those situations, it's best to just ignore it and move forwards. It's not worth fighting for. But on the other hand, if there is something that will have a positive impact for you, then sure, fight about it. But it better be important. It's vital to understand the difference between the two. So don't burn bridges, and if you have nothing good to say, just say nothing and Smile, I guess. It's a smart choice to let it go and keep moving forward. It doesn't always matter who is right or wrong. Rather, you stick on your own path, and hey, you do you. Point four, show up on time. Now, this might not sound very significant or this might sound irrelevant, but actually, it's pretty big. So don't be late, don't be flaky, and don't cancel right at the end. Showing up on time can sometimes beat half the battle. It's not always about who's the smartest, or who has all the contacts, or who has the most money. Sometimes it's actually just about who shows up and fulfills it. So being there like you said you would. This small detail can make a huge difference. And you know why? Because only a few people actually do this. So when you are this person, when you just show up and you don't need to reconfirm, people treat it like a shock and people think it's not normal behavior because a lot of people don't actually do this. So you may notice opportunities arise just because you were actually present at the right time. And point five, most importantly, it's okay to fail. Now, I wish someone told me this sooner, or actually, if I would have asked sooner. Now, I look back at this age and think, man, that was so silly of me to expect such a perfect life that everything would be paved for me. I wouldn't have to work for anything. But that's not true. It's okay to be wrong. Half the time, to be completely honest, we're just winging it, trying to make the right choices, and we're scared to fail and we're scared to be wrong. But now think about it. If somebody told you they're perfect and they've never made a bad move, are you going to believe it? I'm going to call that a bluff. So I try to see it this way. When something doesn't go out how it was anticipated, think of it as a blessing in disguise. As if I needed this to happen so I can learn from it and become a stronger person in the future. If you screw up or if something goes wrong for you, you will probably know better next time and perhaps avoid it, making you smarter the next time it happens. For example, if you invest your time and money somewhere and you realize it was a waste of time, you learned from it and now you know how to deal with it the next time. I think it's mandatory to fail if you want to get good at something. So remember it. Rely on your wisdom and your experience and do not rely on luck. All in all, embrace failure and move on from there. Now, these are very normal life lessons, but the fact of life is that you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of these things might sound like common sense or sound like logic, but just sometimes you don't actually realize until somebody helps put it in perspective for you. Now, if you have any positive impact from any of this, I'm content, I'm happy. And to be completely fair, these things apply to anyone at any age. So, yes, we're also learning. And though this video is named Things I Wish I Knew as a Teen, they still apply today. Knowing when to show up, knowing when to put in my effort, and knowing when to just pick my battles. Maybe just in a different context, where at one age I may have been studying in university, perhaps this time I'm in an office and working. So I think it's very important to be relative to the context of where you're trying to improve, wherever your life stage currently is at that given time. So, with that out of the way, let me know your thoughts. What are some things you wish you knew when you were younger? And what are some life lessons you're trying to stick to and trying to commit yourself to? Let me know below in the comments. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe for everything on productivity, lifestyle, and tech. Peace.